G'day there guys, hope you're all having a fantastic day. It's Connor here again and we're back with some more stories from Reddit. As always, if you enjoy these videos, be sure to hit like and subscribe, and also the notification bell so you never miss an episode. Alrighty, let's get right into it. Okay folks, we're on relationships. This one was written by user World's Gone Mad, and it's titled, I found out my wife has been getting a coworker to spy on me at work. We have been married for 5 years and together for 8. I'm not really great at writing, so apologies in advance. I'll try to include as much info as I think is relevant, but please feel free to ask me for more in the comments if I wasn't clear about something. My wife has been jealous of a coworker at my job for some time now. Her name is Heather and she's in her early 20s, tall, pretty, just observations as I have a pair of eyes. Heather is nice, but I don't go out of my way to talk to her. We worked together on a project about 8 months ago, which is when this seems to have started. Heather, 3 other co-workers and I were assigned to this project, and so for a good month we spent much time together at work. My wife saw her one day when we were all coming out and she was picking me up to go to dinner at my parents'. She immediately asked who she was and if she worked at my job. I told her she was new and was put on our project. For the entire duration of the project, my wife was in a bad mood almost every day, and would take every opportunity to tear Heather down, saying she was lanky or her nose was crooked or whatever. She is insecure about her height because she's 5'4" and not a 6-foot tall glamazon. I love my wife's height and her petite figure and tell her this every day. She is extremely gorgeous and turns heads whenever we walk downtown. But once she saw Heather was tall and not ugly, she was convinced I thought she was hot. I kept telling her she was just a colleague and that I had no interest in her. Regardless, she would greet her coldly or not at all if she saw my colleagues. Our home and jobs are located downtown, so we usually walk to meet up with each other after work. My wife would start dressing up a lot more than usual when she'd come meet me and make a big show of jumping on me and stuff. She works at a very nice bakery and usually brings leftovers from work for us or people at my job. She always gave things out to everyone, except Heather. Eventually, Heather picked up on the hostility and approached me to ask about why my wife was acting that way. I simply told her I didn't know. Maybe it was because she didn't know her as long as the other colleagues and she was distant. She seemed to accept that but would no longer leave at the same time as everyone else and would either go early or hang back. Brian, another co-worker, approached me on Friday and asked to talk to me privately. He told me he'd been at lunch with Kate, the co-worker in question, and she'd gone to pay for the food. She left her phone on the table. It lit up with a text and he saw it was from Valerie, my wife's name. The text basically said, "Did you see him talking to her today? What did he say? Then, do you think Heather is going to stay at that job long?" When Kate came back to the table, he asked her if that was Valerie, as in my wife. She got a deer in headlights look and said, "Oh yeah, we text sometimes, we're friends." He said he thought it was weird because she put her phone in her purse without even checking the messages he had asked about and wanted to go. I went home and I snooped on my wife's phone. I know it was wrong, but I had a feeling that if I asked her, she would deny it or become defensive and not show me her phone. There were weeks worth of texts that basically were little reports on what went on at work. If Heather talked to me, what we talked about, did she hug me goodbye? Did she touch me at all? Did I laugh at her jokes? Did the guys think she was hot? Did I join in with them? Did I look like I was flirting? Kate was also apparently talking up Valerie at work to Heather. She made sure to mention often we were married, how great Valerie was, how long we'd been together. I even read one that said, "I told her Val works in a bakery. I bet if anyone tried to steal her husband, she'd just chop them up and bake them into a pie, haha," which was pretty frickin' creepy. A lot of things started coming together then. Heather was much more distant lately. She seemed hesitant to say bye at the end of the day. We used to talk casually like everyone else at work, but now she would just say hi and bye, mostly. I've been sitting on this information all weekend. Today at work I could hardly look at Heather for the shame of it, and I couldn't look at Kate for my disgust. I haven't been able to approach my wife about this because I just don't know how or what to say. I feel frustrated and very much weirded out. I feel gross too, like I've had my every move watched without knowing it, and as if just talking to a coworker is doing something wrong. I haven't talked to anyone else about this, not even Brian who first mentioned it. I don't know what to do from here. I don't even know what this means for our relationship. It feels like something big has changed because I haven't been able to look at her the same way, and all my interactions with her since Friday have been kind of forced and faked. I need to talk to her and figure out what to do. Any advice would be appreciated. I feel very lost right now. Yeah, wow, if you ask me, the wife's being extremely immature here. It's clear she doesn't trust him, but why? But yeah, you can't expect your partners to go through their entire life without needing to interact with objectively attractive people. That's just ridiculous. Let's go to the comments. This is couples cancelling time, hardcore. She, your wife, has totally broken your trust and is treating you like a criminal. She's being mean, disrespectful, sneaky, and just an all-around jerk. Kate should also be seriously ashamed of herself. I don't know, man. Were it me, I'd talk to my wife, insist on cancelling, but if she refuses to go or causes a huge stink, I'd rethink the marriage. I might even report Kate to HR for unprofessional conduct and creating a hostile work environment. Opie replies, going to bring up cancelling today when I get home from work and talk to her about this. Your wife's insecurity could cost you your job. You want to be glad Heather doesn't know about the spying, yet. Poor Heather already is having to sneak around her own workplace to humour your wife. Couples cancelling for you and wife, no excuses. If she says no, then your marriage has no future outside of a divorce. Normally I'd say you need to apologise to Heather for what has happened, but here I think it will merely confirm it's really happening and could again threaten your job. But how will you be able to continue to work with Kate or Heather? Wow, that'll be hard. To be honest, you need to consider looking for a new job, and perhaps wife. He replies, I was worried about this too, but I don't know exactly how it would play out so that I'd lose my job. Can you give me an example so when I talk to my wife I bring this up? I thought about it, but I don't know how the boss could fault me personally for something my wife, an external source, and another coworker did, but please let me know. Would be great to make her see what this could literally cost us. Has your wife been irrationally jealous before? Did something happen in your relationship to make her lose all trust for you? I guess those things don't really matter. You guys need couples cancelling regardless, but I'm curious as to where this behaviour is coming from. I'm sorry this is making work so uncomfortable for you, and especially for Heather, who never asked for any of this. Please talk to your wife so you can save your job, marriage, and all the unfortunate bystanders who are now involved. Opie responds, Yes, she has. My wife is very insecure about her looks, and I find it very sad. I'm not saying this because I'm her husband, but she's very beautiful. Long dark hair, light brown eyes, perfect face. She really does get a lot of looks and double takes. But she experienced a lot of bullying as a kid. She had bushy brows growing up and was the only Italian girl in her middle school. She grew up thinking she was ugly for not being tall or blonde-haired and blue-eyed. She thinks that's secretly what I want, I guess, although I've never said anything to indicate that. Okay, Opie updates 2 days later. First off, I would like to thank everyone for their responses and for taking the time to give me advice. I did not expect the 300 or so comments I received, so please don't take it personally if I don't reply to yours. I was very much overwhelmed by and grateful for the support. On to the update. I took the general advice and confronted Valerie and used therapy as a non-negotiable term. So Tuesday, when I posted, I saw Kate at work and bluntly said, You don't need to report on me today or any day after this. I'll be talking to my wife after I'm done today. She got this blank look on her face and said she didn't know what I meant, but I noticed her hanging around significantly less than usual after that. I did my best to focus on my work, but I asked to go home early because it was just impossible with everything looming ahead for me to concentrate. I went home and texted my wife that I was home early and I needed to talk to her when she was done work, so to please come home right away. I got a bunch of "what's going on? What's wrong?" texts, but just kept telling her I'd talk to her at home. She got home and I got into it right away. I told her I knew about the text with Kate, about the spying, the harassment of Heather. She was mad at first and kept adamantly saying she did nothing wrong, and if I had nothing to hide, why did it matter? I told her to please not play me for a fool, and outlined all the things her behaviour meant, like lack of trust and sheer vindictiveness. I brought up the consequences, like my damaged trust and drama in the workplace. I also brought up how my job could be at risk because of this. She made a point to say they couldn't fire me without also removing Heather, as she'd say she was being inappropriate towards a married man in the workplace, and Kate would back her up. That brought us to a heated argument, and it ended with her crying and me yelling. She started asking, "Who the hell is Heather to you that you give so much of a crap anyway?" and derailed into this whole thing about me caring too much about someone I claimed meant nothing to me. I don't want to get into too much detail because this would be extremely long, but the conversation was a good 5 to 6 hours long. It ended with her agreeing to go to couples therapy and individual if the couples therapist so deemed it. She apologized to me a lot and admitted she'd been acting out of jealousy and anger towards Heather. She asked if I wanted her to apologize to Heather in person, but I said no. I didn't want there to be more drama. I watched as she texted Kate and told her to stop and that she was sorry for dragging her into it. She gave me the password to her phone for transparency, but I told her it was pointless, as if she really wanted to continue she could just delete the texts before I saw them, or change the name, or whatever. I told her I expected her to keep her word, to stop, because if I got any indication that this was still going on after our talk, that I would separate from her and file for divorce. Yesterday morning, things still seemed tense, but it was to be expected. She still kissed me before going to work, and we had a normal text conversation on our commute. I get to work, and Kate apologizes to me, and I accept it, but tell her our work relationship from here on out is forever changed, and there's no going back from it. I tell her that, beyond work conversation, we have nothing else to talk about. She accepted it and went on to start the day. Lunch rolls in. I ask Brian if he'll let me buy him lunch and thank him for telling me. We go to have lunch and he asks me if I've heard Heather put in her request for a transfer. Apparently on Tuesday when I left early, Heather asked why I wasn't at my desk because she'd brought over the week's project booklet and had seen me there earlier. Kate, of all people, told her I'd gone home to, quote, deal with personal issues. When Heather asked if everything was all right, Kate told her that she hoped so because, quote, I don't want to see someone come between Valerie and OP's marriage. There must have been a bit more to the exchange because Heather went all the way up to our boss's boss and asked for a transfer to a different department. I feel extremely embarrassed because without a doubt I feel like that guy now in the office. I know Brian isn't a gossip, but of course people will ask why Heather transferred, and without a doubt it will eventually get out. People who used to talk to me casually probably will stop. The women of the office will feel as if they need to keep their distance, and I feel so ashamed that I can't even approach Heather to apologize for the stress this must have caused her. I doubt she'd even want to see my face at this point. So yes, wife has agreed to cancelling both couples and individual, apologized to me, all of those things. But the damage is now done, and I feel like complete crap about work now. I guess I shouldn't have been so naive to think that just fixing this with my wife would make everything else go away. Anyway, thank you all for the advice. I was feeling very at sea before writing that post. I still feel a bit lost as far as how to deal with the fallout of all of this, but at least I have one part of it sorted, or on its way to being sorted out, so that's a positive. Yeah, silver linings I suppose, but man, what a frustrating ending. Let's go to the comments. What frustrates me the most about this is that Heather ended up transferring, because even though OP's wife did all these horrible things, at the end of it all, she suffers no real consequences and got what she wanted, like Heather no longer being OP's coworker. I'm not saying Heather shouldn't have transferred, because obviously she has to take care of herself. I'm just saying that it sucks, and that I wish there was justice. I feel like Heather may even suspect OP had feelings for her, though he obviously didn't, because why else would his wife do all of that? So it's no wonder Heather transferred to get away from him and his wife. I wish Opie and Heather had talked about it after she requested a transfer, just so that she can be assured he didn't do anything, didn't know about the wife and Kate, and he wishes her well in her new department. I guess life never really lets us tie things up in a neat bow though. Yeah, I had that same thought as well. Like, she didn't know about Kate and all the espionage, and like the comments said, what the wife did was so irrational that you would just assume that he did have feelings for her or something like that. What do you guys think? Maybe you got a similar story you'd like to share. Let me know in the comments, otherwise we're going to move on to the next story. Okie dokie, we're still on relationships. This one was written by user Chris0427 and it's titled, Girlfriend got a massive tattoo for me. I've been with my girlfriend for almost a year. I've always made sure she knew that I wanted to take things very slow, and I didn't want anything too serious right now. I've only been divorced for a year, and I have primary custody of my kids, 2 and 4, so they are and have always been my priority. I can't stress how clear I was about keeping our relationship casual. Anyways, I have a lot of tattoos. I won't pretend like they're all super meaningful, but most of the bigger pieces are related to my hobbies, friends, family, random crap I'm into. My girlfriend only had the tiniest tattoo on her ankle. I was away last week doing the Vegas bachelor party road trip thing, and she texts me that she has a surprise for me and sends me a pic of the tattoo. It's a tree that starts at where the ass meets the leg, not sure the name for that, and ending on the back of her neck. The branches have crappy tattoos that are copies of many of mine. A few in particular piss me off. One is a copy of a tattoo my buddies and I got done to commemorate a friend that died. Another is very similar to one of mine that was inspired by a drawing my kid did. I showed it to my friends and they all think she's freaking crazy. Her explanation is just that she liked my tattoos, so she wanted to get similar ones but in her own design, and she did it to honor me. She said she got it for me. She went to a crappy artist, so it looks pretty bad, and the design isn't too great in itself, which I think defeats the purpose of honoring someone, and they mean literally nothing to her. Between her copying my tattoos and having a genuinely crappy tattoo covering her entire backside, I really don't find her sexy anymore. It's a huge mood killer. She was my dream girl in bed, so without that, there isn't much left. I'm starting to consider just breaking up with her because what she did seems so insane. On the other hand, we've been dating for almost a year, and I'm really into her, and she now has this giant tattoo that's honoring me, so breaking up would suck. Opinions? That is a bizarre thing to do. I mean, yeah, breaking up would suck, but it would suck even more for her. She'd have to cover them up or get it lasered or something. But I'm fairly sure no sane person will get a tattoo like that less than a year into a casual relationship. Let's see what the comments think. She is crazy. That is so completely freaking insane. I would run far. If she got a tattoo to commemorate something special between you two, meh. But to copy your tattoos? Bat crap crazy. And ones that were so personal to a life before her. Opie says, I haven't explained what they all mean to her, so she might not know that the one tattoo is commemorating my friend, but still, it's pretty crazy, right? It's even crazier that she doesn't know the meaning of them. It's like she just wants to wear your skin. I had to check that I was on no sleep. This made me shudder. Opie, run. Hold on to your skin. Did she do all of this off of memory? 8 hours isn't a drunken tattoo mistake. Was this maybe planned? Did she take pictures of all your tattoos? It is weird that 1, her friends, and 2, the tattoo artist, did not say anything. Opie says, I'm guessing it's based off pictures. Newer or crappy artists don't seem to care what they tattoo as long as they get paid. She got a detailed butt-to-neck tattoo finished in one sitting. I won't lie, I'm kind of impressed. She sounds nuts though, and you don't talk about any of her good qualities other than being your dream girl in bed, so dump away, I guess. He replies, it's not done yet, but yeah, she sat there for 8 hours getting this crappy tattoo. She does have really good qualities, but I never saw her as a future wife material, you know? If you never saw her as future wife material in the first place, then why is this even an issue? Just break up with her and move on. Why do you need the validation of strangers to convince you to do something it seems you already know you want to do? He says 2 reasons. One is that despite not wanting to get married right away, I was still really into her, and this came out of left field. And the other is if I do break up with her, she's probably going to feel pretty bad now that she has the giant tattoo on her back. As harsh as it may sound, the tattoo really isn't your problem. That was a crazy, crazy thing to do, and you are in no way responsible for all the negative fallout she'll suffer because of it. And when told to just let his girlfriend live with the bad decision tattoo, Opie says, it would also give me peace of mind that someone out there doesn't have the same tribute tattoo my buddies and I have for a friend that passed. Granted, she removed the text, so it doesn't mean much without it, but still, I'd rather that not be on her. Okay, now for an update, 9 days later. Quick update, we broke up. I tried to stick it out, but the tattoo was too much of a turn-off, and I just didn't find her attractive anymore, which is the opposite of what she had intended with it. The breakup went about as expected. She completely lost it, and yes, she was mad because she thought it would lead to something more serious eventually. My artist agreed to finish the piece for her, and he'll cover up the bits that match my tattoos. It should be very easy since there wasn't any shading yet. I'm glad she agreed to see him because now her tattoo has a chance of looking decent, and I can be certain that it will be properly covered up. I tried to get her to explain to me why she thought it was a good idea, but all she kept saying was that she truly believed I would like it, and she thought it would help move our relationship to the next level. I told her she should see a therapist, and she told me to F off, so there you have it. Well, yeah, that was abrupt, but I think all in all worked out well for OP. Hopefully in the future that girl has learned to, think things through a bit more. I guess now she has a permanent reminder to do so, that's for sure. Anyway guys, that's it for that story, and that's it from me today. Hope you guys enjoyed those stories, thanks for making it to the end, and I'll see you all in the next video. Have a good day. Cheers.